Alright, here we go, another on the fly video. So to continue on with the dual wielding essentials, so last time we went over the double action strikers. In this case, there's no ambidextrous control, so we have to use the thumb or the right hand to maneuver the safety and slide control. We have to use the finger for the other hand, the offhand in this case, or we can bring the thumb around. You want to bring your finger forward to manipulate this because of the pressure on the safety there. But that is kind of where you're at, which is why a lot of people don't like guns with no ambidextrous. I should say 15% of the population who also belong to that, say 1/5 of gun owners. That can be a real turnoff for them, because then they can't use their thumb like they can on something like this. So when you have these ambi controls, it gives you a very good opportunity to practice this mechanical program in various different fashions. And decocking, cocking. So it gives you this opportunity to, practice with both hands, and then learn both aspects that you have to either learn one way or the other on, a weapon like that. You can use a weapon like this to get both of your hands acclimated to that entire program of ambidextrous control. What happens if, one arm goes out of commission, and because I'm right-handed, well, what about this? Just caught my shirt. But I mean, it took the hammer back. So like we were talking about previously with using that pressure, it's easier when I'm in a lower comm-eye, but there it is. So that does work. And that can be, if you have one like this where it gives you the ambidextrous controls, that can be very useful. And another thing I talked about was, well, what if I have these, of course I'd have the clip. I just took them out for safety reasons. I have to do this, I have to do this, Well, with a smaller gun, I think this has about 12 pounds of spring pressure in the rod. That's enough to where I can pull it back single-handed. Left hand's kind of slippery. My left hand's a little bit weaker, so I might get some, I probably need to practice that a little bit more. But the thing is, you need to make sure that when you do these, that you do pull the slide back to its extremity. And I don't think I'm getting it on this one, because I've been practicing this more with my right hand than my left, and you kind of need to put some time in to get used to the, the odd sort of, because it's on your thumb, and, it's this one I practice so I can get it out there. And that's the problem when you've got, say, 16 pounds of tension. I can get it back there, but I don't trust it to cycle reliably. So that's why I went over the, do this, do that. And it does work, which is why I did that video. That's not in. And I can get it to cycle reliably every single time. No problem. So, in that case of, you know, using the one-handed argument and approach, you know, how do I do it this way, how do I do it that way, and how do I go about doing it, meaning by argument and approach is, it depends on the strength of your hand, you know, how many foot-pounds of force you can bring down. I think I've got like 1 pound weaker on my left hand, so that makes it, you know, I need to practice this a little bit more. That kind of makes me shake a little bit, because if you don't get it all the way back, when you release it forward, you'll get a malfunction. And there's another platform to consider. You know, let's talk about, you know, with this one, Phoenix HP22A here. What I've got is a single action semi-automatic hammer. And that additional tension makes it very hard to get a grip on these nickel slides. So what I do is I cock the hammer back, and then I can bring it all the way back and get it to cycle reliably with either hand. It's actually, you know, the spring tension is very light on these, so that's even easier. But that hammer has to go back, because if not, then you're also pushing against the hammer. Now, one other thing I want to go over, this will probably be a pretty quick video, but I think that covers, you know, everything I wanted to talk about, you know, with the idea that I had of, you know, using just one hand to get that done versus, you know, doing it this way. We're 7 minutes in, which is probably just going to be the shortest video ever. What about a revolver? How do you do that? What if you have a speed loader? Well, this will actually be the first time I've tried this, and I'm trying it on camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that one-handed shuffling technique, and I'm going to place the speed loader in between my ring finger and my pinky finger. And this is going to be slow. It's not going to be impressive. It's just to go over the mechanics of, let's say, you know, I'm one arm out. What do I do? Or I have two revolvers. How do I go about this? And it's going to switch around on the opposite side, because your cylinder, of course, pops out this way. It doesn't pop out either or. It pops out one way or the other. Your release is on one side. So let's say I have this in one hand, which is this kind of, you know, this is some pretty exotic stuff right here. You know, if you're doing something like this, you're in a pretty wild situation. But it's fun to experiment. So let's say I bring the cylinder out. I'm going to use my finger in tandem with my thumb to release the cylinder and make sure it's all the way out. I'm sort of losing my grip on the speed loader here. Grip should be like that, holding it for a while. So then I'm going to have to flip the gun around. Okay? And when I do that, I need to make sure that cylinder stays out, because if you turn it that way, it is going to fall that way. So when you flip it around like that, make sure you have gravity on your side. Let me just drop that in there. Just drop that old nose there. This ain't working out for me. Go ahead and give it one hand assist there. But once you have it in this position to where you flip the gun around from over here, it's taking too long to explain this, but once you have it in this position, maybe you need to give it a little bit of a flip. You should be able to line this up like a puzzle. Let's go ahead and set it down. I know that's cheating, but like I said, I'm just trying to get the mechanics. So I'll set it down for a little bit of stability, and maybe I'll use that on the ground. You know, maybe I'll take a knee, but I'm trying to do it free floating to show it, you know, the hardest possible way. And I just, you know, at this point my hand it's completely bound up. So I'm not trying to be too specific about this. I just drop it in. Give it a little push. And it's in. And from there I can turn it back around. And at that point, what I need is I need to be able to turn this to release it. Okay, so how do I do that? You know, where am I at here? So that's not working out. What if I take it in this position? You know, here, officer, here's my gun position. Okay, well, this also gives me, first of all, support on the frame. I have support on the frame, so I'm not putting any unnecessary tension on the cylinder, because you don't want to put a lot of tension on the cylinder. But this is the here, officer, here's my gun, you know, sort of coochie posture. But I'm supporting the frame at the trigger guard and the barrel. And I've got the cylinder in my hand. And I just turn this to release it, and there it's out. And now I want to drop this because I'm in a gunfight. I don't need it anymore. And I am ready to go.